Hi friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Max and I run a niched marketing agency, and on this channel we explore how to run a successful marketing agency that can help us to get better results for ourselves but also for our clients. And in today's video I want to tell you the story about how I actually got my first advertising client ever. It's a quite funny story, but it also includes a lot of valuable information. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So let's go back to 2017 when I actually started my agency and when I got the idea that I wanted to start an agency. And the first really valuable lesson that I got taught from one of my earliest mentors was that I was supposed to choose a niche for my agency. Because when I started my agency, I thought that I could help everybody with everything, but my mentor basically told me that I was going to earn more money, have an easier time doing sales and marketing if I chose a niche. And he was absolutely right. And the reason behind that is because when you choose a niche, when you become a specialist instead of a generalist, you only have one service that you sell to one specific industry. So you become the specialist, you can demand higher prices, but it also becomes easier for you as the agency owner to just have one service that you need to figure out for one specific client. So all of the results that you get for that specific niche, you can use testimonials to get more clients like that. And the better you get, the better paying clients you can get. And it's just snowballs. You can create a compound effect from it. Compare that to if you're being a generalist marketing agency where you help everybody with everything. You're helping a dentist, a lawyer, a roofer, a solo contractor, a painter, another marketing agency, or you do some websites designs and you do some Facebook ads and some Google and some conversion optimization or some SEO or whatever that might be. You're basically helping everybody with everything. It's going to be super stressful for you because you're trying to be an expert at everything, which is pretty much impossible, and you're not going to be able to charge as much. So if you want to have fun, earn more money, and have a lot less stress and get better results for yourself and for your clients, you should choose a niche. And that's what I did when I started out. The second thing I did when I started my agency was that I created a sales process for myself. So I actually joined some courses out there. I started to learn, okay, how should I actually do sales and how should I do marketing? Now I at least have a niche that I can go for, and I started to talk with people in that niche, and I chose roofers and I did Facebook ads for roofers. And the reason I went for Facebook ads for roofers were basically because I had a talk with my dad, and I asked my dad, like, hey, what niche should I go for? And he was like, yeah, go for roofers. You know, they can replace a roof in a day or two and they can charge $15,000 and they have pretty good margins, and they're most likely not that good in marketing. So if you can help them to get some leads, that's probably gonna be good for you. And that's what I did. And I've been doing that ever since because it's a great industry essentially. Again, when I had that niche, I created a sales process, and it's basically a sales funnel, and it becomes pretty simple when you have a niche. So you basically create like a landing page and you can ask them for their name and phone number, and then you can show them a VSL video, a video sales letter, where you basically do like a sales presentation but in a video format. And that's what I did, and that becomes a lot easier when you have a niche, because now you know who you're talking to and you know what you should say to them, you know what they want, you know what they don't want, and it just makes sales and marketing a lot easier, as my mentor has told me. After they've watched your VSL, you can offer them like a call, a sales call. So that's what I also did. But basically the moral of this story is that I chose a niche, I created a sales process, and by just doing that, I created a much easier situation for me early on, essentially. The third thing that I started to do was that, okay, I had my niche, I had my sales process. Okay, now I need to find people to actually find roofers or find people in my niche to get to the sales process, to basically find out about me. And early on, I didn't have any money to spend on ads, which is what we do quite a lot nowadays. But when I started out, I basically did some cold email, and cold email works. It especially works when you have a niche and when you send personalized emails. So that's basically what I did. Basically just started to look for different roofing companies in Florida. I found their website, I tried to find their email addresses on their website, and then I just started to email people. And I sent a lot of emails when I started out. You have to remember here that I didn't know anything about how to serve those clients early on, because I was getting my first client essentially, right? But I was basically just emailing them, and then one day I just got a response and I got a booked call because somebody had clicked the link in my email, they have gone through my sales process and they booked a call. And that takes me to point number 4, which is the actual sales call. And I can still remember my first sales call because I got this call with one of the top 100 roofing contractors in the nation, in the United States. And I remember looking up that I was going to have my first sales call in the roofing niche with an owner of one of the biggest roofing contractors in the United States. And when I did that call, I was so nervous. I basically prepared my script. I knew everything, how I was gonna do everything, but I became so nervous on that sales call that basically all my saliva just disappeared from my mouth. I couldn't speak almost. I was so nervous. It was, yeah, looking back to it, it was actually fun. But I remember how nervous I was. And the funny thing about the call was that it was a very easy sales call, essentially. I just did my pitch, and at the end of it, he was like, okay, let's go for it. And I demanded $3,500 per month from him with a $2,000 setup fee, and I wanted a 4-month commitment. So it wasn't like the cheapest contract out there, but I had learned from one of my mentors as well that go for the higher paying clients and just don't be cheap, essentially. So that's what it did. And since it was a bigger roofing company, they just went for it and wanted to test me out. So that's how I got my first client. And the sales call was insanely terrifying, but it turned out well. And point number 5. So again, remember that when I got this client, I didn't really know how to actually get the results for them. So what I did was that I started to look around for media buyers out there, because I knew that, okay, if I can just figure out the sales part and actually get people coming into my agency, then I can find marketing experts or media buyers, as we call them, and give them a piece of the cake. Essentially, they can actually do the fulfillment of the service, so we can get early, quick results for my clients. And I can also learn from those media buyers how they actually do what they do, so that over time I can start to do it myself, or at least learn how to do it myself, and then I can expand a team from there, essentially. So in summary, this is basically like the steps that I took to get my first advertising client. And this is what I also recommend to people that are thinking about starting an agency, or maybe agency owners right now who want to do things differently, you know, move away from the generalist, choose a niche, create a sales process specifically for that niche. You know, the sales and marketing become so much easier when you're just doing ads to one specific industry, and you also just have one specific service that you do. You know, start to do some type of advertising. I started out doing organic outreach with cold email just because it was free, but you can do social media outreach, or you can do, you know, ads. You can do YouTube ads or Facebook ads, or you can do SEO or whatever now might be. Then also sales is something that we constantly need to become better at, but have some type of idea of how you want to do your sales calls. Nowadays we do like a pitch deck that is working really well over Zoom. And then obviously the fulfillment side of things, to actually become better at the service. Early you can just hire a media buyer and learn from them, as I did, or over time you just kind of learn yourself how to do it, and you gain the experience yourself as the owner, and then you can hire more people as they come in. You can kind of teach them how to do things. So that is basically the story of how I got my first advertising client ever. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe. As mentioned, this is my first YouTube video ever, so if you liked it, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like, and also you can check out this video, which is going to be my most recent video. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.